All right. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the show. My name is Eric Mitchell. I am your host. This is Starlight Beacon Transmissions, and this is episode 57. That's right. Yes, this is episode 57. Once again, my name is Eric Mitchell. I am still waiting on Lavender. Hopefully, she will be here in a few minutes. If not, we will run tonight solo, which is fine. I know Lavender's kind of had a few things going on, and I just wish her all the best if she cannot make it tonight, and that's fine. We have a great show for you tonight. Got some new stuff to cover, and we are also going to be talking about. I'm also going to be giving my spoiler-free thoughts on Star Wars Brotherhood by Mike Chen, the book that just came out. And we are also going to be taking a look back on episode 2, Attack of the Clones, in just 2 days. That's right, count them. 2 days. It is the 20th anniversary of Attack of the Clones. Hold on one second here, folks. All right, we are back. So we are going to get into this. Just a couple of announcements. Keep in mind, no live show on June 3rd due to us being at AwesomeCon. Yes, my wife and I will be attending AwesomeCon in Washington, D.C., so we are not going to have a live show that night, which is fine. I don't know. I might try to sneak one in there if I can bring my equipment with me, but I'm gonna be bringing a lot of stuff with me for AwesomeCon, so it's one of those things that damned if I do, damned if I don't. But if I don't do a live, if we don't do a live show here on YouTube, I will do live streams throughout the weekend, covering the amazingness that is AwesomeCon. We also do have a couple of Star Wars guests listed for AwesomeCon. Anthony Daniels is going to be there. Giancarlo Esposito is going to be there. And they just announced on May 4th, Timothy Zahn is going to be at AwesomeCon. So I'm going to try to get some Thrawn books autographed if I can, which would be fantastic. Um, Hopefully they announce a few more people because if they do, that would be really, really great. And let's see here. Also, no live show August 13th, as my wife and I are going to be on vacation. That's right, we're going to be on a much needed vacation. So, yes, no live show August 13th. I know some of you have been asking, well, when's our RPG show coming back? Well, our RPG show is coming back soon. We are still hammering out the dates for that. But as soon as we do get that date to you, as soon as we hammer out that final date, we will get that to you. And yes, we will be doing Law and Order Star Wars. We have not forgotten about that. We're going to be doing that for 2 sessions, and then we're going to get into the meat of our story for our campaign for 2022, our season for 2022. So, a lot in the pipeline coming up, and we are just going to bring it all to you as much as we can. We are also working on a huge, huge show for you the weekend of Celebration. So our plan is that Saturday night we are going to break down, of course, we're going to break down the first 2 episodes of Kenobi. But the rest of that show, we're going to be talking about all of the news up until that point that we go live. That's coming out of Celebration. So, and that's going to be a lot of news to cover. So, buckle up for that one. We may start earlier for that, and I'm bringing on a big panel a big panel of guests, not only to break down all the celebration news, but to talk about the first 2 episodes of Kenobi. So get ready for that. Let me see here. I think that is it for the announcements. We're going to get into the news. Yes, we have some news to cover here. Oh, let's see here. Which one do I want to start with? Well, let's talk about a little known TV show that has started filming as of this week. The Ahsoka series. Yes, the Ahsoka series starring Rosario Dawson as the lead character, Ahsoka Tano, has started production, and Dave Filoni teased us, well, Star Wars teased us on social media using a picture from the set that has a director's chair that says Ahsoka with Dave Filoni's hat hanging off the side of the chair. So we are super, super excited for the Ahsoka show to start production. We're excited to see where this show goes. And hopefully, by the time we get to Celebration, we will have who we will have a live action casting for Grand Admiral Thrawn. That would be ideal. Because we know Thrawn is one of the end games here for this series. So hopefully we get some live action Thrawn casting. That'd be great. Live action Ezra casting would be pretty cool too. And you know what? Throw Hera there in the mix too. So that would be really, really neat to see if that does happen. So yes, the Ahsoka show is underway, and yeah, we couldn't be more excited. So there is that. Next up, we have a preview of not only Han Solo and Chewbacca number 2, but we also have a preview of Dr. Aphra number 20 here. For Han Solo number 2, Han Solo and Chewbacca number 2, apparently we get to meet Han Solo's dad. And it begins with Han Solo punching him in the face. So, that's always great. If you haven't read the first issue of Han Solo and Chewbacca, you really should. It's a great first issue for the series. Picks up like kind of like a little bit after Solo, but it's just fun to see Han and Chewie's adventures during this time. And we get to see more of Han's lucky dice and everything. So looking forward to Han Solo number 2, which should be out here very, very soon. Let me see here. I think there is a release date for it. Yes, May 18th. So yes, this week we get Han Solo number 2, or Han Solo and Chewbacca number 2. Next up, we have a preview of Dr. Aphra number 20. This is a Crimson Reign tie-in here. And with this one, Aphra and her team are up to more of their usual shenanigans and or goings on here. Let me see what the description here is. Dr. Aphra and Santa Staros find themselves in a firefight beneath the University of Barleth. Yes, so if you haven't been reading Dr. Aphra, number one, you should, because it is a fantastic. Let me just check something here. Okay, it is a fantastic series, and Alyssa Wong just writes the hell out of it, and it's so good, just absolutely just so good, and I cannot recommend it enough. So definitely check that out. Let's see here. What is next? I'm going to save that one for later here. All right, we have the Kenobi press tour has begun. Yes, the press tour for the Disney Plus original series Obi-Wan Kenobi has begun, and I got to tell you, I've been watching some clips from this, and uh, you know, I gotta say, Ewan McGregor and Hayden Christensen, you can tell there's a lot of brotherly love there when it comes to them talking about their passion for this project, their passion for the prequel trilogy, and it's just really cool to see, uh, you know, them get a lot of love because, as Ewan says in the one press event, he's talking about how, yeah, when the prequels came out, they weren't well received critically. You know, critics thought that they were okay, but thought that they were a mess at the same time. And then kids like me and my wife and Lavender and John and Joey and so many other members of our team here on the Beacon and so many people that we interact with on a daily basis through social media and through our Discord server. Um, you know, a lot of us are prequel trilogy kids, and we love those movies because those were our Star Wars movies, you know. Yeah, I saw the original trilogy. My dad showed me the original trilogy when I was a kid, and I fell in love. And yeah, I went and saw the special editions in theaters in '97 when I was a kid too. But to see the love that the prequels are getting 20 years later, it's just amazing. You know, these are the movies that we grew up with. These were our Star Wars movies. They made me just fall harder in love with this franchise and with this series. And you know, it's really funny. Revenge of the Sith came out in 2005, and that's when I graduated high school. And so that summer, I mean, leading up to my high school graduation, I saw Revenge of the Sith in theater like three times. And then after I graduated, like it was really funny. The night, or no, like the day after I graduated high school, we're trying to figure out something to do. And my uncle's like, "Hey, let's go to the movies. Let's go see Revenge of the Sith." Okay, so I saw it for a fourth time. And then throughout that summer, I saw it more times because I loved that movie so much. And it really is the best of the prequel trilogy. But I will tell you this, all three of these movies have a place in my heart because of everything they represent. And I have to tell you, these movies have only been enhanced more by projects like the Clone Wars, by tie-in comics and tie-in books. Like Master and Apprentice is an amazing book that talks about Qui-Gon and Obi-Wan's partnership, like 10 years before the Phantom Menace. And then we get the audio drama Dooku Jedi Lost, which shows the rise and fall of Count Dooku in the Jedi Order and has High Republic ties. And it's just wild. Um yeah, Farm Boy, you know, these movies are, and I don't mean just to say like just me like being younger. I just mean like you said, you were in your 30s when the prequel trilogy came out. I mean, that's awesome though. Like you fell in love with those movies. And that's awesome. Like seriously, that is awesome. And they didn't deserve the hate that they got. And for the people who bullied yeah, oh yeah. Oh yeah, we're heard now. Oh yeah, we are heard now. But the people that bullied Ahmad Best and like sent him death threats and everything because of Jar Jar Binks, you ought to be ashamed of yourselves. Because I will tell you right now, because of Clone Wars, I freaking love Jar Jar because of Clone Wars. Clone Wars redeems him. And I will tell you this, Ahmad Best is amazing. He's a fantastic actor. Loved seeing him in Jedi Temple Trials, which was a great short-lived Star Wars Kids YouTube series. Which, if you haven't watched it, you should because it's just a lot of fun. Yeah, it was a fun show. Yeah, it was cute. It was Star Wars Legends of the Hidden Temple, essentially. That's what it was. And just to see like my generation like finally just being like, you know what? The prequels were fun. The prequels were great. If you hated them, you hated them. But you know what? We have no room for hate in this love fest for the prequels. And here's the thing. In 20 years, I guarantee you within the next 10 to 20 years, everybody's going to be saying the same thing about the sequel trilogy and how much they love the sequel trilogy. And I got to tell you right now, I love the sequel trilogy. I think it's fantastic. I think all three movies are great on their own. I think The Last Jedi is clearly the strongest of those movies. But I love The Force Awakens, I love The Last Jedi, and I love The Rise of Skywalker. I think that they're all three are fun movies. And you know what? I will continue to go to Batuu and live in that sequel trilogy era because I love it. So you know what? And you can't stop me. You cannot stop me. Just like I can't stop you from loving the original trilogy or loving the prequel trilogy or loving the High Republic, which I love the High Republic by the way. But anyway, to see Ewan and Hayden, I went off on a tangent there, but it circles back around to what I'm saying. To see Ewan and Hayden just embracing this love, and you can tell like these two are brothers. Like, yes, history does repeat itself. These two guys are brothers. They love each other. They're excited to work with each other again. And you know what? To see Hayden just embracing the love is just incredible. And I really hope for this Kenobi series that we get to see Hayden Christensen with the long hair again, but in the Clone Wars Anakin Skywalker armor. I think that that would be amazing. Um, and I would love to see Ewan McGregor with the longer hair in the Obi-Wan Clone Wars armor too. And I just think that, yeah, exactly, Farm Boy, exactly. And here's the thing, like going back to the movie thing real quick. Empire Strikes Back was not critically well received. And it was a lot of people argue that it's the best movie of the original trilogy. Me personally, I feel that it's Return of the Jedi because Jedi just wraps it up in a nice bow and everything and just tells this great story of redemption. But history is going to repeat itself. And people are going to look back on the sequel trilogy, especially with projects like Resistance. Shadow of the Sith is hitting us. We're getting more projects that are going to be done in the sequel trilogy era. I mean, come on. Galaxy's Edge is in the sequel trilogy era. The freaking Halcyon, the hotel that we constantly joke about. And quick shout out to Sarah and Steven from Princess and Scoundrel podcast. You guys, thank you so much for joining us again last week. It was such an amazing time. We had such a great time talking to you guys about not only all the Star Wars news, but about your journey on the Halcyon. So if you haven't watched that yet, go back after this show and check it out. It's a great, great episode. But anyway, I'm super excited for Obi-Wan. This press tour has me psyched, especially with Ewan and Hayden hanging out, being bros, and just having a good time. So can't wait for that. Let's move on to our next news story here. Looks like we have. I'm super excited for this. So speaking of the Halcyon, we got this week we got a cover of Beth Revis's upcoming novel that hits in August, The Princess and the Scoundrel. And I got to tell you, I'm really excited for this book. I mean, I'm really excited for this book because The Courtship of Princess Leia was a great Legends novel that talked about Han and Leia's marriage and and how they got married and everything. It was great. It was absolutely great. Barely remember what happens in it, but I remember it being just a fun book and a great book. This is going to be the same thing. If you love action, adventure, comedy, and romance, this is going to be your book. And I know a lot of people are complaining, are moaning, saying, "Oh, well, it's just going to be another way for them to advertise the Star Cruiser and how nobody can go on the Star Cruiser." I'm going to tell you this right now. Yeah, the Star Cruiser's involved, but I don't think it's going to be as involved as you think it's going to be. Or if it is, they're going to do it in a way that's natural to the story. Perfect example of this. I have two perfect examples of this. And I'm actually really excited to do this here because I have one of these examples here. First example is Timothy Zahn's Thrawn Alliances. A good chunk of that book takes place on Batuu, where Galaxy's Edge is. And yeah, they talk about the different things there. Like there's a fight at Oga's Cantina in the book. But Timothy Zahn does it and does the story in such a way where it doesn't feel like an advertisement. It feels like it feels like a natural story. It progresses. Batu itself takes on a character in that story. So that's example number one. Example number two, Black Spire Outpost by Delilah S. Dawson. This one, yeah, it takes place at Black Spire Outpost. And yeah, it talks about Mubo's Droid Depot. It talks about Ronto Roasters, Oga's Cantina, Docking Bay 7, Savi's. It talks about all those places. And all those places are in this book. But you know what this is? This is a sequel to The Last Jedi, and it's a sequel to the Phasma book. Most importantly, it is a sequel to The Last Jedi and a sequel to the Phasma book. Yes, it happens to take place on Black Spire. Yes, it says Galaxy's Edge, Black Spire Outpost. But I gotta tell you something. This is more than just a travel brochure an advertisement for Black Spire Outpost. That's all I'm gonna say. So if you have doubts about whether or not they're going to do it justice in this upcoming book, I say, why don't we just, you know, you can have your doubts, but you know what? Let's just see what happens. And here's the thing. if it, it I have faith that they're actually going to do it naturally. I have faith that it's going to be a natural thing, that it's going to be a perfect setting for it. So you know what? Don't worry about it. I'm excited for this book. I can't wait. Um, and the cover makes it look like a Harley Quinn novel, which I love also, because it's a Star Wars romance action adventure comedy story, and I'm ready for it. And here's the thing, it's supposed to be fun, so embrace it, embrace the craziness of it all, and just enjoy it. Because it's supposed to be fun. It's Star Wars. At the end of the day, it's about space wizards. So anyway, there's that. What is my next topic here? Next topic. Oh man, I'm super excited for this too. Star Wars Celebration Live is coming back to StarWars.com, Star Wars YouTube channel, Star Wars Twitter, Star Wars Facebook, Star Wars TikTok, Star Wars Instagram. It's going to be all over the place. So yes, Star Wars Celebration Live is going to be happening. So for those of you that were worried, like me, were worried about them not live streaming panels and events from the convention, it's happening. It's gonna happen, and that is coming up. Let's see here who the hosts are, real quick. So we have. Let's see here. We have Anthony Carboni, Andy Gutierrez. So the hosts of the Star Wars show are coming back. We have Hector Navarro, Kristen Baver, Jonathan Hembro, and Christina Ariel, the hosts of our lovely High Republic show, our favorite Star Wars show. I mean, don't get me wrong, Kristen, we love This Week in Star Wars. Don't worry, we love it. But we're really excited for all of this, and that's going to be awesome. It's going to be a lot of fun. And that is May 26th through the 29th. It is the entire convention weekend that we are going to be getting live streams from. So that means hopefully we get a live stream of that High Republic panel. I'm hoping. Christina, if you are watching, make it happen. Please make it happen. We need to know. We need to see what's going on in there. We need to see it. We just need to see it. Please. Please. Please, Christina. Pretty please. Okay, that's all I'm going to say about that. All right. So, yes, that is super exciting. Can't wait for that. Before I get into my spoiler free thoughts on Star Wars Brotherhood, and before we get into our main topic of the night, which is going to be a look back on. Um, it's going to be a look back at Attack of the Clones at 20 years old. Yes, this Monday is the 20th anniversary of Attack of the Clones. So we're going to talk about it here in just a few minutes. Oh, and Pickle's here. I don't know if we're going to get a Pickle sighting here on the stream. Who knows? But so let's talk about. So we were talking about May. That's a remote Pickle. Okay. So we were talking about May 4th last week. Oh man, that is awesome, Farm Boy. That's really awesome. Yeah, if you can take vacation days off just to sit at home and watch the celebration live stream, do it. I shouldn't encourage that, but you know what? Screw it. I'm going to encourage it. Yeah. So I want to talk about May 4th real quick and some of the merch that we got. We were out of town earlier this week when a lot of this merch came in. So we are going to I'm just going to showcase this merch real quick, and then we're going to get into the spoiler free thoughts on Brotherhood, and then we're going to get into Attack of the Clones. So my wife camped out on shopdisney.com, and I'd say you had a pretty decent haul. Yeah, pretty decent haul this year. So uh, they put out these wishables. Once again, they put out Star Wars themed wishables for May 4th this year. Last year it was Star Tours. This year it's Millennium Falcon Smuggler's Run. And you could So it was Chewy was the well, I'll show you in a minute. What? Chewy? Chewy? Oh, I don't know. He disappeared. Um, Pickle might have taken him. So this is the Hondo Anaka Wishable. So for Smuggler's Run, it's here. I'll show you. So that there's Hondo there. So if you can see here, you get the Millennium Falcon, Hondo, a Porg, and Hondo's droid, all in these blind bags, right? Which you can only buy one of these blind bags at a time on Shop Disney right now. I have a feeling that they're probably going to up it to about two at some point. But yeah, you can only buy one of these at a time right now. It's okay. He might be under the table too. So yes, so there's that. So we have yes, pickle. So we have Hondo Anaka right here. Uh, we have we have Chewy, who's actually available outside of the blind bag, and then we got the Millennium Falcon right here, which super cute. You can see it's got a smiley face and everything. So they're these plush collectible toys. They do waves what every month or so? About every month. Most of them are based on Disney attractions, while some are based on like Disney movies and stuff. Like they did a Ratatouille set, they did a Coco set. Yeah, they just did. So the Main Street Electrical Parade just came back over at Disneyland. So the new Wishable set is actually for the Main Street Electrical Parade. Um, we got Cars Land stuff too, which Lightning McQueen and Mater were in that set. So yeah, there's a lot of stuff. The Star Tour set from last year was really cool because it came with 3PO, R2, the Star Speeder, Rex, and a Stormtrooper. So that was really cool, and we actually lucked out and got every yeah DJ Rex, or Captain. Well, the original Captain Rex, I should say, but DJ Rex from Galaxy's Edge. So there's that. Then my wife picked up this. I'll be careful. Yep, yep. So there's these Been There series of Starbucks mugs that came out. I believe it was last year was the first year for them, or like the year before. Yeah. Um, but here we have a Naboo one. So this is all about the Phantom Menace. Really nice mug, heavy mug too, like pretty heavy mug, but very nice mug, very cool. Of course, it's got Starbucks there, and then it says "Been There" series, and just really cool series. So cannot talk about that enough. Then we had pins. Well, we got a pin. And here we go. So originally, my wife had ordered the IG-88 and Boba Fett pin. So this year's theme for May 4th was actually all bounty hunters. Like last year, it was pilots. This year, it's bounty hunters. So she ordered the IG-11, the IG-88 Boba Fett pin. Didn't get that. Instead, this was shipped to us, and it's the Mando and Boba Fett helmet, which is really cool. Yeah, this is the one that she wanted anyway. So yeah, like a lot of people are mad that they got this pin, and I'm like, this is a really cool pin. Like, yeah, talk to Shop Disney about getting your original pin that you ordered, but still. Oh yeah. So it's a QR code issue, but still. Yeah. But this is really cool. A lot of fun. Love this. And then we got um, the May 4th hat. So you can see here, it's bounty hunters. So we have Bosk, IG-88, Boba Fett, and we have Dengar. Yes, Dengar. And then on the brim it says "May the Fourth be with you, 2022." Really, really cool hat. I plan on wearing this next year at Disney World. I mean, I'm going to wear this in the meantime before that trip, but I plan on wearing this next year during our Disney World meetup. So this is pretty cool. Then, while we were gone visiting my old hometown of Ocean City, Maryland, we stopped at a Walmart for, I believe it was like to look for sandals and stuff, or for Monster High stuff too, because like they re-released the Monster High stuff. So we're going through the toy aisle, and I see some Black Series figures, and like a lot of them were pretty cool. And it was some that we didn't have. And then I saw a vintage collection Bib Fortuna, which I should have picked him up too, but it's okay. But then I see a box that's like this on the shelf, right? I'm like, there's a Black Series on the top shelf. Let me take a look. So you know me, I you know me. I love the Bad Batch. Absolutely love the Bad Batch. See, I got Echo a few months back at Ocean City Comic Con. I have Hunter, I have Wrecker, and I have Crosshair. Or no, I got Tech, I should say. I still need Echo, but I found the last member of the Bad Batch that I need besides Echo. We have Omega, everybody. Yes, we have Omega, and I gotta tell you, I'm so happy that I found this figure. And it felt like it was meant to be, seeing it on the shelf and everything. I love this figure to death. It is going to stay in the box. The entire batch is going to stay in the box until I do some more cleaning on some bookshelves. Uh, and then the batch will come out, and the Cal Kestis figure and the second sister figure that I have from Fallen Order will come out of the boxes too. But yes, there she is. There's Omega with her bow, her breathing device, and everything. So super, super happy about this. Great find. So I want to talk about Star Wars Brotherhood, the new book that came out this week from Mike Chen, who is an incredible writer. And I'm going to share spoiler-free thoughts because yes, Omega with Ruby. Yeah, I forgot the creature's name. Um, But yeah, I want to talk about this spoiler free because I know not everybody's had a chance to read the book yet. But I will say this: it is a fantastic book, and I, you know what? Give Mike Chen whatever Star Wars writing project he wants to do because he's fantastic. He's phenomenal. This book is so good. It takes place at the beginning of the Clone Wars, shortly after the events on Geonosis and shortly after Anakin and Padme's wedding. We get to find out in this book. We get to find out what all that business on Cato Nemoidia was all about. To quote Obi-Wan, to loosely quote Obi-Wan from Revenge of the Sith. And oh man, I will say this: Mike Chen treats every character in this book with the utmost respect and writes the hell out of every character in this book. Obi-Wan is written so well. Anakin's written really well. I mean, all the characters are written fantastic. Their interactions are great. You feel like you're either watching an episode of the Clone Wars or you're watching like Attack of the Clones 2.5 essentially. Like it like this it's so good. I will say this isn't like, well, no, it's kind of spoilery, so I don't want to say it, but there's a sequence at the beginning of this book that made me tear up with tears of joy and tears of sorrow at the same time. knowing what goes on down the line. But I gotta say, it's so good. I cannot stress enough. Like, if you are a fan of the prequel trilogy, if you're a fan of the Clone Wars, read this book. Like, seriously, read this book. It's mind-blowingly fantastic. I cannot say enough of it. So I will say this, Mike Chen, thank you for writing this book. I look forward to your next Star Wars stories because I want more. Like, I'm ready for more. I want more. Bring it on. Like, let's go. So that's actually going to transition us into, because it takes place right after Attack of the Clones. It's going to transition us into our. Oh, I'm going to try to get him on the beacon. I'm also looking into getting Adam Christopher, who's writing Shadow of the Sith. I'm looking on getting him on here as well. I also am going to try to reach out to Mark Thompson, who does the audio books for a lot of these, and see if I can't bring him on and do like an interview or something. But I'm working on it. Believe me, I'm trying to network the hell out of out of this thing to just grow and grow this community. So stay tuned. We'll get it. We'll get it here soon. So that's gonna bring us to our main topic of the night. We're gonna take a look back on Attack of the Clones for its 20th anniversary and the impact this movie has had. So, Attack of the Clones was released May 16th, 2002. So, yes, Monday is its 20th anniversary, as I stated earlier. This is the second episode in the prequel trilogy, and it is our introduction to Hayden Christensen's Anakin Skywalker. And Hayden will, of course, finish out the trilogy as Anakin Skywalker slash Darth Vader in Revenge of the Sith. And I got to tell you, like, looking back on it, and I said this earlier when I was talking about the Kenobi stuff, and I'll say it again. I I love this movie. I mean, Revenge of the Sith is definitely the strongest movie out of the prequel trilogy. But I will tell you this: Phantom Menace and Attack of the Clones are no slouch. I know there are a lot of people that love the prequel trilogy but hate Attack of the Clones. And that's fine. Like, it's fine, but I will say this: I have nothing but love for this movie, especially because of Clone Wars and books like Brotherhood, and just knowing like how much it ties into that movie and builds on what that movie establishes is pretty incredible. Um, I will say this right now: Attack of the Clones is definitely the most political movie of the prequel trilogy, besides Revenge of the Sith. Here's where the politics like really shine in this movie. I mean, now granted, I will say this: the entire prequel trilogy is political, because we get a lot of it in the Phantom Menace too. But I love Star Wars politics. Like, believe me, I hate regular politics, but I love Star Wars politics. Like, I'll eat that crap up all day long. So with this, we start to see more of we really start to see the pieces being set up for the end game, which is Revenge of the Sith. In this, Padme doubles down on where she is as a senator, but she compromises some of her convictions when it comes to her feelings for Anakin Skywalker. Yeah, spoilers. If you haven't seen a movie that's 20 years old, get ready. Believe me, I'm going to ruin Avatar for you when it comes out, too. When the sequel comes out, I'll ruin the first movie for you. Um, but anyway, that's for next week to talk about that one. But this movie just really it starts to set up the pieces here. We start to see the confrontation starting to brew between Obi-Wan and Anakin and their brotherhood and how Obi-Wan at the beginning of the movie seems like more of a failed father figure to Anakin than by the end of the movie where he feels more like a brother. Like Obi-Wan in at the beginning of Attack of the Clones is still like very much trying to be the mentor that Qui-Gon was to Anakin. Even though, let's say, Anakin knew Qui-Gon for about 2 weeks, essentially, because keep in mind, space travel is a lot different. Time's a lot different in space. So we see Obi-Wan kind of as a failed father figure at the beginning of this movie, and by the time we get to the end of this movie, he is seen more as a brother, which is what Anakin needs at that time. He knows that it's really funny though because knowing now that Obi-Wan and Satine had a thing, I know a lot of people are like, "Oh no, they never hooked up." They did. I mean, even though Mike Chen states in Brotherhood that they didn't, I believe Mike Chen was subtly saying, I have to say they didn't, but they did. Now, Mike, I'm not trying to put words in your mouth, okay? Because I know you wrote the story the way that you want to read. You wrote the story, but myself and a few others that I've talked to that have read this book believe that you kind of doubled down on the they were a thing, and you can definitely tell from Clone Wars that there was a lot of tension there. Maggie, if you're watching, yes, Corky, aka Satine's kid, is a Kenobi. I agree. Yeah, like that's the separatist senator, like the little teenager that Ahsoka hangs out with. Yeah. Yeah, my wife's like Satine had a kid. Yes. We'll get to that at a later point here. But Attack of the Clones. So we see Padme compromise some of her beliefs because of her relationship to Anakin Skywalker. We see Anakin really struggle in this movie, not only with his feelings for Padme, but his duty with the Jedi Order, and also still missing his mother. And his mom is a big factor in this movie, especially it starts his eventual turn to the dark side. I wouldn't say that his feelings for Padme start his eventual turn to the dark side, because here's the thing. We've seen throughout the High Republic now, and even in the sequel trilogy, where Jedi have feelings for each other, especially in the High Republic, we see that, and it hasn't really turned anybody to. They've come close and they've dealt with the anger, but like they haven't gone down that dark path. Anakin goes down that dark path by losing the only person that he's pretty much known his entire life until he was about 10 years old. He loses the very thing that kept him grounded to his roots on Tatooine, which was his mother. And in doing so, he lashes out against the Sand People. Or I should say the Tuskens now. I don't want to call them Sand People because I feel like it's a derogatory term now, especially because of the Book of Boba Fett. But I will say this: he lashes out against this sect of Tuskens that captured her, and we think that she's been tortured, but if you look at the Book of Boba Fett, Boba Fett was beat up too by the Tuskens. I'm not condoning what they did to Shmi Skywalker. I'm not. I'm just showing that there are comparisons there. Now, like I said, this eventually starts his turn. His relationship with Padme only adds fuel to that fire. I wouldn't say that his relationship with Padme is the start of the downfall. It's it's the slaughtering of the Tuskens. So we have that. We also have an investigation going on in the background too, with Obi-Wan trying to investigate who would want to kill Senator Amidala, and we find out that Count Dooku was behind it, but we also find out that there are Kaminoans that we were introduced to Kaminoans, and we find out that there is a clone army being produced for the Republic, and that was done by the order was given by Master Sifo-Dyas. Now, this is really interesting because this is the first mention of Sifo-Dyas. We actually get a lot of Sifo-Dyas we get a little bit of him in Clone Wars, but we get a lot of him in Dooku Jedi Lost, which is the audio drama written by Kevin Scott. Which I will say this again. I'm going to plug this again. If you have not read or listened to Dooku Jedi Lost, you should, because it's an amazing audio drama, and it really like paints more of a light on Dooku, and it's fantastic. So I will, I'll plug that again. So we find out Sifo-Dyas ordered the creation of this clone army. And I believe it's like 200,000 units were like done, with like a million more well on the way or something like that. And Obi-Wan is arrives on Kamino, meets with the Prime Minister of Kamino, inspects the clone army, and finds out that they're clones of Jango Fett. Jango Fett being a renowned bounty hunter. I don't know why I'm telling this story, because I'm sure that you all have seen it multiple times. But this investigation to me is actually my favorite part of the movie because, once again, going back to the High Republic, Trail of Shadows is like one of my favorite things to come out of the High Republic because we get Jedi detectives. I love when Jedi are investigating things and not necessarily like using their lightsabers or getting into fights. I mean, if they get into fights, they get into fights, but I love when, especially like in Clone Wars, like when they've done like the investigative story arcs. I love that. I absolutely love it. I thrive on it. Um, and it's just really, really cool to see Obi-Wan doing that. What? Oh, okay. And it's just really, really cool to see Obi-Wan doing that. Which brings us to Geonosis and the final battle, as well as the confession of Padme's love for Anakin Skywalker and Anakin's confession of love. Well, Anakin confesses that he loves Padme way early on in the movie, but it's Padme at the end, right before they're about to be killed, arena style, um, that she professes his love. And here we really see the Jedi turn from being protectors to being warriors and being a military force. And this is where we really see the downfall of the Jedi. This is where you really start to see it come into play. We get traces of it in the Phantom Menace here and there, but not really. We're still like trying to prove that the Republic is still in like this golden age and like still like in this like prosperous age, but it's not. In Attack of the Clones, we're starting to see it, like the colors in the movie are a lot darker, because especially on Coruscant, because like we're seeing more shadows, we're seeing more light play and everything. And that especially at the Jedi Temple, and we're starting to see the downfall. We're starting to see how Jedi are turning, and that the Republic is changing, and that the Empire, the shadow of the Empire, is looming over. And we also get a tidbit of information here where Mace Windu and Yoda admit that the dark side of the Force has clouded their judgment. That and it's really interesting because at this point they admit that the dark side of the Force has clouded their judgment. However, they don't tap into the Force to see where that source is. Like you can tell like it's close by them, and you can tell that they know that it's close by them, but they never go to see like they never tap into the Force to see what it is or who it is. And then I'm thinking, well, this would be really interesting if they did that because then we wouldn't give Revenge of the Sith. And then Anakin Skywalker wouldn't really become Darth Vader at that point, and we would have to see a different catalyst for him to become Darth Vader. So it's really interesting to see like they're so clouded by the dark side that they end up like they're confused essentially. Like my cat, Pickle. Um so I just think it's really interesting here. On the flip side here, we get to meet Count Dooku. And this is another interesting thing. I've talked about this before, and especially with Darth Maul, and especially in that final season of Clone Wars. And I'm gonna talk about this, and I believe I've mentioned this about Dooku before too. So Obi-Wan's captured by Dooku, right? And he's being held prisoner, and Dooku's talking to him, and they talk about Qui-Gon a little bit, and Dooku says, "Wow, I really wish that he was here. I could use his help right now." And here's where it gets interesting. Dooku gives Obi-Wan all of the information about what's going down within the Republic. And Obi-Wan refuses to believe it because he's so blinded by the ideals of the Jedi Order and by the Republic that he doesn't see what's happening right in front of his face. And Dooku's almost like, "Look, you idiot, this is what's going on. Like, you have the opportunity to stop this." And then and here's the thing. He says, "Join me in stopping this." He doesn't say join the dark side or anything like that. Obi-Wan takes it as he's like being asked to join the dark side. Dooku never tempts him with the dark side of the Force. He just says, "Look, this is what's going down. If we team up, we can end this right now." And Obi-Wan refuses to go with it, which is really interesting, and it shows how blinded these Jedi are to what's really going on in the background. It also goes back to when Maul and Ahsoka have that conversation during the Siege of Mandalore arc in the final season of Clone Wars. Maul sees the writing on the wall, and he sees everything that's going down. He tells Ahsoka the truth about everything that's going down. And Ahsoka, once again, blinded by the ideals of the Republic, even though she was like betrayed by the Jedi Order and betrayed by the Republic, even though she's working with them in this story arc, she still refuses to believe it. And I will even give Pong Krell the benefit of the doubt, even though I hate that jerk. But he saw the writing on the wall and he saw what was going on. Now, he is not justified in what he did, but he knew what was going on. And part of me believes Qui-Gon knew too. And and him talking about how Anakin is the chosen one to bring balance to the Force. He is, because he has to bring balance by turning to the dark in order for Luke and Leia to be born, to bring that balance to the Force. So I just have to say that it's really interesting here, like going through all of this and going through um every story beat here. And I know like there's probably some other stuff that I'm missing, but I do have to say, looking back on this movie now, it is the pivotal chapter in this prequel trilogy. And it's actually the most important chapter. A lot of people believe that it's Revenge of the Sith. Revenge of the Sith is important because it's the fall of the Republic and the rise of Darth Vader. The fall of Anakin Skywalker and the rise of Darth Vader. However, Attack of the Clones is the most pivotal movie in this and the most important movie in this prequel trilogy because it starts to lay the foundation for Revenge of the Sith. And it's only doubled down by Clone Wars and Brotherhood and all of these other subsequent materials. Like it's built upon so much by all of these subsequent materials that the movie itself takes on a whole nother identity once you've seen everything come together. You really see that it is the most pivotal movie and technically the most important movie in the prequel trilogy. Others will argue that it's the Phantom Menace. I will kind of side with that a little bit because it establishes because we're introduced to Anakin Skywalker, as well as we're introduced to the politics of the Republic, which start to really take effect in Attack of the Clones. And I just want to thank you all for bearing with me on this. I tried to write some notes down, but I figured, you know what, I should speak to the heart when speak through the heart when it comes to this movie because it's an important movie. It's a great movie. It's a fun movie. We're actually not going to go full 2 hours tonight, folks. I know. We're going to wrap things up here in just a little bit. I think this might be one of our shortest episodes, but it's fine. It's fine. We're working on some big episodes coming up, but yeah, I just want to say that Attack of the Clones is such a great movie. Um, if you have your doubts about it, rewatch it again, especially like after watching Clone Wars and after reading Brotherhood. Like, really just sit down and just watch the movie and just think about the things that I said. And I think that you might look at it in a different light. And if you don't, that's fine. Like, I'm not forcing you to do anything. I'm just saying, just picture it in a different light. Take a look and see, you know, see what it's like for you. So that's it for our main topic. I know it was pretty quick, but this movie has a huge impact on the saga by being the most important movie in the prequel trilogy. And like I said, I know a lot of people will argue against that, but to me, that's just my opinion, and we're all entitled to our opinions. So, uh, yes, I've got nothing else to talk about except we are working on the big show on the 28th of this month. It's going to be our Kenobi 2 episode breakdown, as well as we're going to be breaking down all of the news up until the point that we go live. We're not going to be going live from Celebration. I meant we're going to be breaking down all of the news from Celebration that is being broken until the point that we go live that night. So get ready for that. We have a lot going on here, folks. RPG will be coming up here soon. We're going to tell you about that very, very shortly. Um, but yeah, that's it for me this week. I know a lot of you are probably like, "Oh, wow, this was quick." Yeah, I'm thinking the same thing here, but I've also got to go to bed in a little bit because I got to be up super early. But I just want to thank you all for joining me. Thank you all for hanging out tonight. Let me know what you think about Attack of the Clones because I would love to hear what you think. And yeah, we will see you next week. We're going to get another good show together for you next week. And that's it for me. May you always fight for light and life. May the Force always be with you. And remember, at the end of the day, we are all the Republic.